good evening. Going to make a easy, basic soup tonight with some ground beef and some fresh vegetables from the fridge, as well as from the vegetable rack, and then some garden stuff as well. So we've got some celery and some carrots that I pulled out of the fridge. Those have been in the fridge now for probably a good couple of weeks. We also have a yellow onion, and that's from the grocery store, and then some garlic. This is from the garden this last year. For the ground beef, we'll use 93.7 ground beef. Some industrial meat that I had left over still in the freezer, so we'll get that used. Today's herbs, we basil, parsley, thyme, rosemary, oregano, and marjoram. Some canned tomatoes that I canned last month. Those tomatoes came from the garden. It's a mixture of regular tomatoes as well as some cherry tomatoes in there. And then salt, pepper, some olive oil, of course, for helping brown the hamburger. And then some beef bouillon. So we'll make a simple beef stock with some hot water and some bouillon. So we'll go ahead and start prepping and getting dinner going. It should only take maybe about an hour or so, but really healthy dinner tonight. Not a lot of fat. Most the fat's just going to come from the olive oil as well as the ground meat, but we'll get that all drained off. So let's get started. All right, got the onion all chopped up now. Now we're going to go ahead and get this going. Best way to do this, I find, is put the crock on. I'm going to use this Dutch oven today. Get it heated up about to medium. We'll use some olive oil here. Today I'm using extra virgin olive oil. So put about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons worth of oil in the bottom there. And we'll start heating that up. And then we will add our onions to it here in just a minute. All right, oil's starting to heat up nicely. We'll go ahead and add the onions. As you can see, I diced my onions. I like them nice and small. So we're gonna go ahead and add them into the oil. And we'll start sauteing them. We're going to saute them just before they go translucent. And then what I'll do is pull them off and I'll put them back on the plate. That way I don't overcook them. I want to add the ground beef to it here in a minute. And then I'll finish cooking the onions with the ground beef. All right, got that pulled out. We're going to add a little bit more olive oil to the pot here. We're going to start to brown up our hamburger, our ground beef. There's the onions. So those will set off here to the side for right now. Get that going. Now a trick that I learned for ground beef is instead of just throwing the entire block of ground beef like this in there, what I find works really good is just to take it and basically just crumple it up. Start throwing it in here. Okay. Now it's in the pot. Now we'll start working on browning it up so it's nice and even. All right, this is nicely brown now. So we'll go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and add those onions back in that we started cooking. We'll get those going and get those a nice little stir in there. And then next, start adding our carrots. So again, diced up the carrots, so that way they're nice and small. You can see it right there. Nice small diced carrot. That way they cook evenly and not any huge chunks of carrot either. So we'll get those stirred in. And then I'll just take a bunch of celery here and I'll just cut off however much I need here. So I'll leave the celery leaves on too. Celery leaves are just fine, they're edible. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and get this cut. I think because of how much this is turning, I'm just going to use all of the celery that I got. Plus, celery is just super healthy for you anyway. It's almost net zero by the time you've consumed it and digested the celery. So we'll add that. All right, get that all stirred in. All right, so one thing I did realize, I forgot to use the garlic. Oh well, no big deal. Set it aside, I'll use it another time. Mistakes happen. So we'll use some of our tomatoes from the garden. We're gonna go ahead and get that poured in there now. We'll set the jar to the side. I like using the jar here in a second for measuring my water. That way I can keep track of how much water I add to my soup. So we'll kind of get that started. Take a look at this. So nice and really thick consistency right now. So we'll get that thinned out here. And we'll get our herbs added, and we'll be ready to let this kind of sit and just simmer for a while. Before we let it simmer, we got to add some more water. Like I said, you got to thin this out. The nice thing is I'm making enough here. This will probably give me 3 or 4 lunch worth of soup as well to take with me to work. So got that in there. So I added a quart of water. So what I'll do is I'll add a tablespoon of my bouillon here. I like using this better than bouillon. So I just do about a rough estimate tablespoon there. And then just throw that in there. Give it a stir so it comes off the spoon. This eventually go into and melt nicely into the soup here. So herbs, I'm a visual person, so add some marjoram. I go, maybe about a half a teaspoon of marjoram. Basil, I add some basil. A little bit of oregano. I don't want to go too heavy. I'm not making an Italian dish, so really light on the oregano. A little bit of rosemary. Not a huge fan of rosemary. I do like the aromas that it gives off. And now for the ones that I really do like, some thyme. So this thyme I grew in the garden about 2 years ago, nicely dried. So we'll get that added in here. And then finally, parsley. Parsley is one that you can kind of go a little bit heavy on. It's actually really healthy for you too, especially in cold and flu season. I've used parsley to make actual pasta from scratch. So, but always like adding that to my soups just for the benefits that you get. Then of course, some salt and some pepper. All right, give that a nice stir. Then we're going to set that to low, and we're just going to simmer that now for about an hour. With the lid on. All right, here's the final product, all done. So just turn it off, let it cool off here for a few minutes, and it'll be ready to go. Anyways, hopefully you maybe learned something. Like I said, easy recipe, very little ingredients, easy to find around the house, but very healthy. And yeah, all right, have a good evening, everybody.